So, namaste everybody. So, Father's playing this game today. Sorry. He's just putting us on the spot, and like he wants the Sangha to start sharing, and he wants to see what we are actually assimilating from Satsang. So, I'm on the spot today. So, no, it's okay. I'll just hold it.
Okay. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So there is this Krishna chant that is very common in Kerala. Um,
If I
Krishna,
don't know,
Krishna.
I'll pass it on to Father.
It's
Okay.
okay. Actually, the question is to Father also. So goes like Krishna Krishna Mukunda Janatna Krishna Govinda Narayana Hare Achyudananda Govinda Madhava Satchidananda Narayana Hare. So recently, I think about a month back or something, somehow it started and it's coming a lot to me, like almost like now and then when I where mind wanders here and there, it pops up and continues. Um, then one question is, Father mentioned similar thing about the arrow prayer, right? The last.
That prayer, yeah.
So, uh, is that my arrow prayer, or should I still try to bring the arrow prayer back? Ram, 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 Ram. Or
That's
can I just use
arrow
the same?
prayer.
Yeah.
Okay, in my experience, like, so what you're saying is it's in my experience like an japa japa, like it just starts by itself, no? Like the Krishna, or it's you
Sometimes
actually do it,
automatic, sometimes I had to trigger it.
but then your mind just you just come back to presence with that.
I am not very sure what that still means, but kind of settles down.
The mind settles down.
Yes.
So I can speak from my experience, like many times if like this, I feel like it's difficult or whatever, like the mind is here and I just call God. Like that is my arrow prayer. I don't know if it's a prayer, it's just like an arrow word, arrow come, I don't know. And that just takes, just brings everything back to the correct place. I feel like arrow is like a shot, something just, but I'm not sure. Like, but yeah, anything that can bring you back to your beingness, to God. Yeah. Thank you.
I was just thinking like maybe Guruji would have told this earlier, but somehow I have not assimilated it. Why do we contemplate? I mean, when we say bhakti, I get that, I could do that, but contemplation, I don't know why to do it.
I first want to ask you, what do you mean by contemplation? I mean, this I
Um,
realized many years back that a lot of us misunderstand contemplation to be thinking, actually. We still are
no, it's
using
not.
the
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, that I'm clear about. It's not thinking, because if it was thinking, I would have known what
So you're
what is
not
that.
using the mind when
Yeah,
you're
so if it
contemplating.
is not thinking, then it is what and why? No, it is like why do we have to contemplate? And I know it is not with the mind. So what are we doing and why are we doing? Like we take a question, why do we do that first? For example, like a thought, uh, image came to my mind, like, I mean, you have a lake. I mean, I have a lake within me wherein all the thoughts goes in. My personality also goes into that. My sorrows goes into that. My happiness goes into that, and I am watching it. So I can picturize it, and I want to take it deeper into myself, because I feel that if that picture is there in my mind, I would not be affected by myself or sorrows or happiness or anything.
So it's like
So
an
I want to contemplate.
imagination, like a visual.
Yeah, as of now, it's a visual. Sure. So I thought that I should contemplate on this more so that it goes deeper into me. So then the question came into my mind, why should I contemplate? Is it for deepening something? So that's how
So
it all
I'm not sure, but
started.
I'm not sure if that is contemplation actually. Like that is like just deepening a visual and
Yeah,
making your mind in some state or something like that.
yeah, maybe
So
that.
contemplation to me, and Father can correct me or any of you can, is a very simple looking. It's like a very childlike, curious looking, but not using your mind. So it's like you have all the power in your being to do that. So it's like you don't use your mind, and how do I say this? You just look, like you just look. There's a looking without the mind. Um, how to say?
Yeah, I mean, you come to your presence and you bring that question there. But why do we do that?
Why do we do that? In my experience, first of all, it's a joyful looking. It's not like joyful doesn't have to be very happy, happy. I'm just saying like it's like you are um you're discovering your true self more and more in that contemplation. Like your layers of your mind, like just it's almost like you're breaking through. It feels like two ends here. It feels like I'm deepening, and the deepening feels like breaking the layers of my mind. There's so many layers that I have added on to myself, and it's just
Discovering.
it's discovering my true self more and more and more. The more I contemplate, the more insights. And it's not like a it's a game. So it's like it's more, it's like a true looking in my experience. It's a true looking. You're not, the mind is like taking you into the untruth, like a conceptual way of looking. But contemplation takes you into a true looking, a true um, you know how to contemplate, or you feel like there's
Yeah,
a doubt
I
there.
mean, I go to my presence with that question and I just stay there. Is that how you do it?
How do I contemplate? So contemplation in my experience is just first of all open and empty, because it
Yes,
cannot have the mind involved in it,
yes.
and in that, then that question is alive. Like whatever the contemplation is, it's alive, and it doesn't have to come with an immediate answer. It can go on for days. And in fact, in my experience, some contemplations come back months later or years later, and like if Father has said something like, say, 8 years back to me, sometimes it comes alive 8 years later. It might have given an insight 8 years before, and now another fresh insight, like it has deepened by
Yeah,
itself.
yeah, yeah.
So I've realized, because I was not so contemplative before. Like I know some other Sangha members earlier, we used to be more devotional, like just,
Yeah, same with me.
just let go, let go, let go.
Yeah,
There was,
yeah.
and Father was very contemplative. Oh, yeah, it's okay. But it just came and it just like, it's alive, like the contemplations. And it doesn't have to be like every day you're contemplating. It changes. No, like you can't say I'm contemplative or I'm devotional, or it just changes from day to day. Like, so contemplation, first of all, is make sure the mind is not involved in it. You're not thinking, you're not going outwards. It's like open and empty, and keep the question alive. And I feel like your presence itself will teach you. Like maybe Radha can say more on
Right,
this.
right.
Just don't use your mind. That's all.
I want to expand on like you mentioned insight. How would you say insight is different from just conceptual knowing?
That you just know it. You just know this is it's unbeatable. Like nobody can disprove my insight in that. Like anybody can come and tell me that what you saw was false, and I just know it's not provable, but it's undisputable inside me, and you will just know it. And it has a completely different flavor. There's no grasping, there's no holding on to an insight, uh, and it does its own job. Like it feels like every time there's an insight, like there's more openness. But it's the most beautiful knowledge, um, alive. undisputable. I mean, I can't doubt my insight actually. We know it when the insight is there. We all just know it. We know that this is true. Yeah.
What is possible you feel to know only as an insight and not conceptually?
My truth. I cannot God or you can't know it any other way. You can't know it as a. You just can't. It's not ungraspable yet most apparent knowledge. Yeah.
That the part you said about the inside being undoubtable. So with me, it's been like at different points of time I thought I had the insight, and at that point I thought that was undisputable, and that I've talked to you about it also. No, like so at first I that can you stop being, for that some kind of what Father calls a primordial vibration, what I call a tingling sensation, that is there, and maybe some feeling would come out of it, peace, love, and that feeling perhaps I used to call the being, and I would say it's not infinite, but it's bigger than the body, because it would ooze out of it, kind of somewhere emanating out of that core. And then some other time what happened, like recently I talked to you, that even if that core itself is not there, I still can't stop being.
Yeah. So maybe we can once confirm this with Father. So we were talking the other day. You want to tell Father, or so what I understood from what he was saying is, so he has this in his heart center, like a tingling or whatever, like a sensation, um, which I feel like is the Holy Spirit, is what you say, like. And but when I ask you, can you stop being, then it's not necessarily that you have, that is the so he's trying to always feel that, and when he doesn't feel that tingling, then he feels like he's not, like God is not there or presence is not there. So maybe you can look at it with him, Father. Okay, so ask me again.
It's not there anymore these days. I can't feel it only. Up, I tried to stay with it for a really long time. And after a point, I just couldn't feel it anymore. And that's when I thought, so this is that day also what Father would I asked him, stay in the temple of the heart.
Yeah,
I
he
thought
got
that's
off the train and all because he couldn't feel it. He wanted to feel it, and also he does all kinds of things. So if I ask you, can I stop being? Can you stop being now?
okay, wait.
Are you trying to feel something, or can you stop being?
I just want to
Can
make
you
sure it's
stop
not
it?
from the mind.
Okay.
So can I stop being? Can't.
Okay. Did you have to go and grasp that tingling sensation, or
No,
it was just
now it's not there.
you just can't stop, but the sensation is not there?
It's not there. So this staying in the temple of the heart, like there's not even a sensation in the heart anymore.
So it's not a physical, like it's not a physical place you have to keep your attention on. Staying in the temple of your heart is just being open and empty.
Where is the temple? Where is the staying also? No, it's like nothing changes. Suppose I drifted off into the mind, the being is still there, and if I'm not also, it's still there.
Yeah. So
Where is the question of staying? Staying where? Where's the temple and how to stay in it?
who's asking this question?
Sometimes the answer may not seem like an answer to his question.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever
Okay.
and you try to fit it as an answer.
Okay. Say again, ask again.
So to stay in the temple of the heart, I need to find the temple and I need to know what staying is.
No, it's just open and empty.
Just open it.
Just open and empty.
Okay.
And then the mind will be like, but where is the temple? No, you don't, your heart will tell you what is the temple. Your heart will guide you. You don't have to know anything. Just open and empty.
Hmm. Okay.
Don't figure it out in your head.
Thank you.
It's been coming here last few days that why, I mean, and Father is saying, and not just because Father is saying, because we all have that insight, like that a heart is God's heart. And why are we continuing to just struggle? Like, what is the need to struggle? Like, just He's so graciously here, and that we can just give everything to Him, just live like that. Why are we so like adamant and like Father is saying, and I just want to say it's not just because Father is saying, it's my insight. It's I see it, and all of you see it, that it's just we can live in God, we can live without any struggle. I mean, struggle in the sense of having to know anything. Doesn't mean that your life is going to be very like a book of roses. I think that's what it's called. But I don't need to know anything. Why do I still continue to try to know or think that something should be a particular way? Or it's like the greatest power in the universe is here for us, and we're just being so stupid. It's the greatest freedom to just not know. Like God is guiding us. God can guide us, yet we think we can do it better. I feel like we doubt it because we still don't feel like that is the God. That is like a heart is God's heart. I feel like we still don't have that conviction somehow. We can just go on and on like this. Just wasting time. It's just completely wasting time. I really feel, Father, now that you say that it's really urgent. Like you can't waste a breath. You can't waste a breath. It's like he's graced it with us with the insight, yet we go on and on and on. keep telling my husband, like, I feel like it's my prerogative. I cannot waste a breath. It's just, I cannot disgrace my insight like that. If I have another 30 years to live, I better live it serving God than serving myself. It's enough. Yet I see so much pride. And instead of feeling guilty, I just pray. There's no point feeling bad in that sense. You just pray. You just pray that, you deepen in His love and you serve Him. So we don't have to go into our mind when we see pride. We don't have to make more stories about ourselves. We just go into deeper surrender. And I feel like the deeper you go, the more deep you want to go, because He just shines His light more. He just shows you so much more. And all that our mind makes us feel is true is not true. It's like almost like we are buying time, just buying time, buying time, buying time. You can finish it now. Father shared this book called Crazy Love, and it showed me how much I'm about myself, just how much my life has been and continues to be about myself. My mind might say, no, you're still quite giving, and it's not true. But no, I'm hope it's not sounding like some depressed mind or something. It's just it's a revelation here, actually, that there's so much that we can be available for God in whatever way He deems us fit. Let's stop thinking about ourselves too much. We don't exist like that. Don't waste time. This can sound very scary to the mind, though. No, don't waste time. Like you have to do some. It's not. It's not like. It's just almost like our attitude changes. Like it's just like a. Just becomes like a more surrender, prayerful. Like the intent changes, and then He takes care. I've really like just starting to learn what prayer is after Father introduced prayer, and He really listens and answers when He wills, but He listens. It's not that he doesn't know what we are lacking, but he wants us to admit what we are lacking. It's the most beautiful revelation I'm having. Like he knows all that is amiss here. But until I accept and become honest, I can't go closer to him. Stephen says there is only one contemplation, who am I? And there is no me and God. So this who am I contemplation, actually I remember because um, is very alive when I just started satsang. So I wanted to tell Anu because I would actually stop and look, and I had not met Father or Guruji. Somebody had seeded this question in me. So I didn't know anything in spirituality. So it was very innocent. The looking, I knew I was here. We all just know we are here. And it's like a curious looking as to who am I actually. And you would just look like, because you would know that you're not the mind. You just know, like you just start to know, like if you just stop in the sense of stop inside, like, so that is the looking, like for me in my experience, that was the looking. I was actually looking. It was the greatest joy, like you just, something just started feeling very, of course fears came, but um, I knew I'm here, but what am I here as? I didn't know. In the sense, I knew, but for a long time I had forgotten. So it just felt like I'm looking fresh. I'm just looking, not with my eyes. It's just an internal, like your being has that power. It's an innate power to contemplate. It's like it's one of your powers to just contemplate, like to contemplate yourself, what you are, what is your reality. So just had to say.
You're being with your presence with that question. I mean,
So
you're
when you
open and
say being
empty
with
with
the
that
presence,
question.
yes, being with the presence means it doesn't have to, like the attention doesn't have to, it can come many
Yeah.
times in contemplation, it can rest many deeply in your being, but just open and empty, like the attention can go, but you don't grasp. Like your mind can come, you don't grasp, and the question is alive. Stick to one question, because then the
Yes.
mind will keep like, no,
Yes.
now this
Yes.
contemplate. No, something you feel resonates in your heart, like you want to contemplate this, then you stick to it for some
So
time.
do you repeat that question in your, I mean, do you repeat
Maybe
internally
if you're
that
gone with your
question?
mind, so if you're distracted, then you just bring that question back. You can repeat. It's not like a mental repetition or anything. It's, if you get distracted very often, maybe you have to bring the question back.
Repeat
But
that
yeah,
question.
you will also notice, I feel like sometimes the contemplation just grasps you, like you just want to be with it.
Okay,
You have
then I've
not yet
never tried
experienced
that.
that.
I'll try that.
No, it automatically you feel like you want to, like
That
you it
happens when I do this ADS. So it just grasps you. But I mean, I never tried this contemplation kind of a, I mean, question where I just deepen in that. I have never
So
really.
who am I? If you, that's also
I've
contemplation.
never tried that. I'll try that.
That's also contemplation. No harm. Just ask the question and look with your with your,
I get it. I'll, I'll try.
like this looking is not with the senses, or you know what I'm like, it's a something else is coming to say, like, oh, like for the room, like we have the option of living a life completely serving God and living selflessly as much as God can squeeze us out in that way. Or, oh, said we have an option of living a life, whatever is left for our bodies, just completely serving God, like, which in my which to me feels a life worth lived. For that, we have to be completely open to dying to Him, dying to Him, dying to ourselves into Him. Like every time we check, we see that our insight is true. And every time we check, we see that this person is not there. Yet, why do we always choose to speak from that which is not true? I really always am so grateful to Amba for this. I feel like it comes up very often. She was the one who told me many years back. She said, why are you always talking from Arjuna's perspective? You know, it's not like I don't continue to do it, but it just went in so deep. It's enough. I mean, why are we so shy or ashamed of speaking that which is most natural to all of us? Like even when Father said, why was I so like, and that's like a heart's voice is the most natural. Why should it be like a thing to share? Or like we have become so accustomed to speaking the mind that we feel like this is a big thing. Whereas this should be the most natural, normal conversations in the world. And then the one who's sharing is put on a pedestal, whereas it's the most natural thing for him or her to say. Even like I was telling Shiv, and like we are all learning to listen to our heart's voice more and more. And Athmika had said once to me, like, this is the most natural voice. Like this is our voice. And we are struggling to come back because we are so used to our mind and so used to what our mind is saying. And even in that, like if we can, even the mind can take that as pride. And now I'm listening to my heart's voice. Like it's ridiculous. It's the most effortless, natural way to be. And it can never, like Father says, it can never put you down. It can never put you down. The only place you can trust. The only place you can trust. The only place you can trust. And like that crazy love book is bringing up so many like it's alive in a way of risking your life for God. But I'm starting to see both sides, like my family, my reputation, my this. But in my heart, I see that it's not true. But but it can feel true, very true, and feel very risky. But somewhere I'm seeing that it's worth it because it's just not. There's no because, but it's worth it. There's a because my insights shows me it's not true. Like in my deep sleep, none of this is there. Nothing is there. Then what is all this hula hoo of me and my kids and my family? And it's crazy. Like all this just gone. Sorry, I'm just going on a rant. Just
For Dilip, what you're trying to say before he gets scared.
oh, what am I saying? Oh my God, so sorry. Athmika, explain. She's in some other zone.
This is like, what is not happening? What is not happening?
Oh Lord, sorry. I didn't realize. You heard that part? Me, my kids, and my family. Explain. I mean, so it's not, yeah, I just want to say to Dilip, that does not mean that I'm becoming like, I speak like this to Samik also, okay? And there is no, it does not mean that deepening in God equals to a lack of care in that way, okay? I'm just trying to appease him. Or a lack of love. In fact, it's a truer love. It's unexplainable, but it's a truer love. Um, it's a very powerful love. That doesn't have to be like, there's nowhere close to worldly love actually. Maybe it can manifest like that, but it can manifest as Kali also. But it's worth everything. It's worth everything. Everything that you hold on to. Just let go. Your mind is trying to grasp it, which can never happen. So don't waste time. Your heart is already alive in it. It's not some poetic. I keep telling Samik, there's not some poetic philosophical statement. It's more true than anything else. It's not something that like when Guruji eh, speaks in the invitation, and how is it that we don't like our minds just don't blow away with like the question of when can it go? Has it come? Like, do we know anything that has not come? It has not come. Like, and it doesn't go. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's here by itself. We don't know anything that is here by itself. Like, it doesn't need to be sustained. How come we're not, like Father says, how come we're not interested in exploring that? That is here by itself. Nobody put it here. Nobody is sustaining it. It's crazy. It's always the same. It's not dead. It becomes the most boring thing for the mind. This question, this thing always like does something here. Like, it doesn't, it is self-effulgent. It does not need anything to sustain itself. It's just like a, what do we know in this world that doesn't have a source, doesn't come and go, doesn't fade? Even our breath fades. But we know this place which does not change. It's not just it does not change, it is so by itself. I mean, that is just self-sustaining. Anybody has any question? I feel like if God has given us this grace of being able to serve Him, then we must honor that in whatever way. It doesn't have to be manifested in some particular way, like, but just live for Him. Can you? Somewhere the mind is trying to say everybody's going to get bored. I'm sorry. Like, they'll want to listen to Father now. Just, no, no, no. They're here for you, Father. You come now, please. Huh? So there's a question from Bhakti. How can we trust the voice of the heart more and more? I can only speak from my experience. So, like in my experience, there are like different ways the heart can guide. One is just open and empty. You just move. So one is like to listen to the heart. One is just open and empty, where your heart is just moving your mouth and your body. And another I have experienced is just, it's not really like a command, but it's more like an intuitive sense that like You just know you have to come attend satsang today, or you just know you have to go left somehow. You just know it. Your mind might say something else, but you just know it. Like another is like a command, just do this or say this. Or so how to listen to the heart more and more? The only way is to let go of your mind more and more. Let go of your next thought. Like that's the only way, I feel. The deeper we go into our heart, deeper we go into God, the more we let go of our mind, it becomes more natural to live like that, actually. And I'm still learning, and it's sometimes I still doubt. So like Father has guided us, the heart does not rush. So if there is a command, in open and empty, it's just clear. There's nothing, you just move like that. But if there is a command, and if you doubt if that is a thought or if that is your heart's command, then you just wait. There is no rush to follow it. And slowly you start to get, you don't have to follow it, and initially I would feel guilty that no, what if it's my heart? Like the mind would create this, what if it's the heart's command and you're not following it? Like, and Father said, God is not in a rush, and it's not, I feel like God doesn't need us in that way. Like he can do it himself. He just is like making us listen to him again. So he's very patient. And so, and like Father says, even if the intent is to hear his voice and you end up listening to the mind and then God takes care of that. And that is very freeing, Father, because in the process of relearning your heart's voice, you might make mistakes and be guided by the mind, which is okay. But you start to get, because it's your own voice, it's not an alien voice. So you start to get a sense of, you start to get a taste. It's completely a different taste. Like Father says, unconditional love. It doesn't need anything. It's not a selfish, a needy voice. Like it's not a me for a me voice, it's that doesn't mean that it's not guide. Like it can just tell you don't eat this sweet, that does not mean it's not, but it's not like a me voice. It doesn't have that flavor, it doesn't have that taste. The only way to hear our heart's voice is to let go of our mind. And there's no end to this deepening. But Father, like like a few days back, I was telling you that there's fear to hear the heart's voice. There was more fear than anything, actually. But there's a small shift where I feel like I trust in the love that I don't know how to put this, but there's like it's not wholly fear, like there, it's my heart's guidance, there's more like openness to it now. It's okay. I'm not able to put it in words, but there's something has shifted. Like actually, even like this experience, I'm feeling like this. We don't have to feel shy, or it's just like we should all be talking like this only. Like like say eventually all of us are sharing satsang. I don't see a reason why the one who sorry or why the one who is sharing of course in our reverence we put him or her at a pedestal, but from that one's perspective, it's the most natural thing to do. But I also see how, from our perspective, we're full of reverence for the Guru, but it's the most natural thing. Like, it's the most natural way to talk, and nobody has achieved anything in this. It's not an achievement of any sort. Just because I'm sitting here, one of you sit here, doesn't mean that I know better. For whatever reason, God has picked us. I have no idea why. But sometimes when I get, like, it has become less, but when I get that flavor of the struggling mind, I just feel so much for those who struggle in the world. No, so much. Like, it's such a horrendous way to live. It's such a horrendous way to live. And some are struggling to come out of it. They don't know how. Some are happy and it's fine. It just feels like they're just like waiting to hear, that there's something outside this is not true, this is not true. So why don't we just have that intent that we should be the ones to help them out in whatever way? The intent is there, then God takes care, I feel. But we have all struggled. I have struggled very much in my mind. And I can't imagine someone going through the same. Yeah.
You say God. When you say God and you refer it to as He,
Yeah.
what is God when you're saying God? Is it the voice in your head, not the mind?
So whatever, yeah.
So what is God for you? And second is, you said you do everything for God.
Yeah.
So is it like a switch on, switch off thing? Like when you're functional in the world, you have to switch off and switch on, or how do you really practically navigate through that?
So first, God for me is the reality of my own self. Which He's graced me with that insight. He's gracing all of us. God is actually, now I'm like, the God, that word itself is so, what is God to me? God is that reality, the only one that is here actually. He's the only one. I mean, we refer to Him as He. I don't know why. There's no gender bias there.
When you say you hear God's voice,
Yeah.
which means that you are not one with the God. You and
means
God are
that
different, right?
I'm not.
Does that mean that? When you say you hear mind,
Yes.
you don't associate with the mind.
Yes.
But you're saying you hear God's voice. So then are you not one with God?
How do I answer this question? I don't know. Wait, let me think. I'm not one.
I have
with
not
God.
asked this to Athmika. Okay.
No.
Don't talk like this.
You have to help me out if I don't know.
Yeah,
Ask it
actually
again. No,
want
it's
it
a
from
good
you.
question
I
because I
don't want to
haven't.
hear it from Father. I actually wanted to hear from you.
It's almost like everything you wanted to ask Father, but were afraid to ask.
Mm,
So this because it's Sangha sharing with each other, so you
yeah,
can be a bit more free and just say,
yeah,
"What is God?"
yeah, yeah.
And if you can hear His voice, then how are you saying it's you?
Ah, okay. Good question. Just ask the question once more, no? The same question. So, what is God? You don't want that answer. You want.
So are you referring to God as something different from what you truly are?
Okay.
And the reason I have this question is when you listen, when you say you hear your mind, so you're saying you're not the mind. But at the same breath, you say, I'm listening to God's voice. So then are you also saying that you are
It's a good
not,
question.
you're different from God?
No, I'm not different from God. I'm not different from God, but I would rather not say that I'm God, like it is true, but it does, I cannot, in the same breath, I cannot say like, it just doesn't feel right. The truth is God is in my heart and I am Him, but I would rather say that, how do I answer this, Anna? I can't say I'm God, okay? He is all there is. Yeah. Um, and he commands. Because I really don't know, Father, how to answer this question. Eh? See, those terms I don't know. Don't get into Advaita.
The insight is that I am one with God.
Yes,
The love shows me that I am a servant of God.
yes.
Both are true.
But then
One is true.
like
So
when he,
the guidance from God is for the servitude in me, for the servant in me, that the me that is left behind, not as someone special or something who
yeah,
is now proclaiming I am God,
yeah,
but the one because an element of this egoic nature always stays behind in the human condition. It is always there, even for the greatest sages. They have not transcended the human condition 100%. So, for that of me that still remains, I would rather be guided as a servant by God and to follow God's will than to be guided by the voice of limitation, separation, individuality. So, though it is true that I am beyond God, actually, God that we refer to as consciousness takes birth within myself. This is my absolute reality. But that of me which is still left behind, even after that insight, that me is only a servant to God's will. And I can follow God's will by being empty, like she said, and allowing it to unfold, the presence to unfold this body mind. And I can follow his guidance, his command. So that is what is called Achinta Veda Veda, which means that which is unfathomable. Veda means that there is a difference, and a Veda means there is no difference. So Veda Veda put together is unfathomable. So how can it be that on one hand you are the source of God itself, and on the other hand you're saying with full integrity and honesty that I'm just a servant at His feet. So then the servant needs to hear the master's voice to be a good servant, and that is why it is made available to us. So what happens if the egoic aspect that still remains holds on to the conceptual notion of its godliness? You see, then that becomes Ravan. You see? That becomes the spiritual ego. That becomes the special one. That I am somebody special. I am God Himself. All of you are still people, but I am God. All this kind of symptoms arise from there. So, for that Veda aspect of me, which is not even worthy of being called a servant, beggar in front of God, that one needs His constant guidance. And that is the voice which is guiding us. So, whether you call it the Sadguru presence within, or the Atma Jnana within, or the Holy Spirit within which is guiding you. It is always the highest pointing of all the sages has been that we must follow God's will, even higher than the pointing that you are one with God. And there's a reason that why they put that as the highest. Because if the spiritual ego infects us that I am God, like what is left of me starts taking itself to be God, then it just leads to all the horrible things you see in spirituality. So both the oneness and even the source of consciousness is true, as well as the servitude to God is true. And this the mind can not fathom, and that's why the Achintapa. See, Achint means you can't fathom it. And that's why I always say, uski chinta mat karo. Achint. It's achint, literally. So as you're deepening in your love for God, you will also notice that actually you are the pure witnessing from which this being, the presence arises. This is true. But also in your heart you will feel so much love and obedience and servitude to God that it's impossible to put it in the category of which one is true. It's not logical in that way, but both are true.
Yeah, and it's like the ways of the heart are so like they like you can say left and right and they'll be both be true. No, but in the mind we can't understand what Father said. Like
From our experience, we can verify both, isn't it?
yes,
That's the beauty of
that's
this.
the
That it's
thing.
not just okay. Father is saying is illogical, so I just have to accept conceptually something which
No.
is opposite. But when you validate with your own experience, you find that both are true. So how are you able to communicate that? That is the difficult part.
Yeah.
How can I communicate opposites without scaring everybody away? Is the difficult part.
Yeah, and as I was answering, I realized how you say, like, I would rather say that God is whatever, but I'm just his servant, or whatever. Like, I can't say I'm God. Like, it just doesn't sit in my mouth. I can't say it. Like, it just feels like you can't say it. It's just like it feels like blasphemy, even though it's not blasphemy. But the truth is, he's your own heart. And yeah.
Sorry, now you got me started. So the beauty of it, and this is my only topic. So the beauty of it is that I can confirm it is the presence in my heart. You see, but at the same time confirm that this entire universe is just an appearance in its light. And this is another thing which the mind can never understand. How can just a presence being experienced by one aspect of consciousness be the source of all the universes? And how do we even know that? How did the Vedantins write all this centuries ago before there was science and so much of that? That is what your intuitive insight is telling you. That the one whose presence is alive in your heart is also the Lord of the universe. And it is to that Lord of the universe which I'm always in service to. But I can also confirm that it is within me. It is my very being. Okay, I'm going to keep quiet.
In Hindi, there is a sorry. In Hindi, there is a Atma and Paramatma. Is that because it's not translated? We are saying making it in English God, but there is.
The way you look at it is just look at the presence of the primordial vibration as Atma, the unlimited nature of this being whose presence this is. So if I ask you what is the boundary of this being, you'll say it has no boundary. And yet you can experience the primordial vibration, as I call it. So that unlimited, limitless beingness is the Paramatma. And there is no actual difference between Atma, Paramatma. Some people also call it Jivatma and Paramatma, or Jivatma and Atma. But actually, Naparaha, no? Napara is the non-distinct part. So although there is no distinction between Atma and Paramatma, and then you can say that that which witnesses even the reality of the limitless being, that is the Nirguna Brahman, from which even Paramatma takes birth. So, and if you want another conceptual framework, you can look at that pure awareness as Nirguna Brahman, and then the Saguna aspect being the Paramatma, Atma, Jivatma. All this these are qualitative categorizations, not in actuality, but they're helpful because and it coincides with all the cultures in the world. So if in Christianity they talk about the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So it's the same thing. The Holy Spirit being the presence of the Atma within, or the Sadguru presence within. The Son being the unlimited being, the Paramatma, and the Father being the absolute reality.
I want to hear the practical what to do in that moment when I, for example, have a glimpse of that, which I even don't know what I'm even perceiving. What is the most practical in that?
So leave the category practical.
Okay.
Then you're either being guided by the mind or being guided by the heart. Isn't it? Now, if you keep the outcome aside and you just want to know whether this is coming from my heart's voice or this is the voice of separation, voice of individuality, then just check if it is accompanied by a holiness, like a love, a not grasping, a not rushing, just a holy presence. If it is accompanied by that, then you can trust that and take that to be true. But there is no guarantee that it does not mean that you have some super abilities or something like that, because even that the mind can also get when the ego is trying to play things out. So trust that for the moment because it is coming from the holy place within you. And if it is not coming from there, and it turns out to be very accurate in terms of its prediction and all of that, it doesn't matter. All of this is still the Leela. And that's why I'm saying keep the word practical aside, because the minute you say practical, you're saying let's take the untrue to be true. Isn't it? That's what the word expands to. Because you say, okay, but practically speaking means you want to give credence to this ephemeral as if it is eternal. So just keep that aside, category of practical versus real or whatever categorization aside, and just follow your heart when it's coming from the heart. And if it's from the head, and even if it's very accurate in the future, it doesn't matter. Let it not tempt you with any of its temptation.
Practical was more in how to deal with these things incorrect. This is not mind. This is some kind of weird perceptions which I keep receiving and I keep avoiding
Yes,
them.
if they come with the presence of holiness, then you can call them visions. You can call them guidance from God. But if they're not accompanied by holiness or love or presence, whatever word you want to use, then just forget about them. Let them come and let them go. You don't have to dwell on them at all. Don't try to solve it. You try to solve it, then it just pulls you up.
It's blub, blub.
Yeah.
It's blub, blub.
Exactly. Those are the best. Those are the best. Like a Zen koan. Where can you solve a Zen koan? Are they unsolvable?
But why are they annoying me so?
Koan, suppose your master has given you a koan and the master says it may take 20 years, 30 years, but you have to solve it. Don't you feel it must be annoying then? It must be annoying.
So just dismiss in a way. It's better to just dismiss.
Yes, if it's from the head. If it has a mental energy about it, just let go of it. If it has a holiness about it, then follow that. And like I've been telling all of them that if your intent is to follow God in your heart, but you're tricked by the mind, God will make grace even out of that. It's okay. What is important is your love for God, your reverence to follow Him. And His grace will take care of everything.
You see, when I, for example, this is why I'm bringing this up because this is just one of the cases. This was just the case today, exactly something like this. But what was happening, I don't know, this is vision or whatever this is. I perceive because I didn't feel this comfortable. I say this is some blip of the mind, and I just say no, and I go do something. When I don't like it, I don't know if it's my mind inventing or I'm getting visions or whatever I'm getting. I just kind of go on a dismiss
So I
mood.
told you
So
like
you're
how
saying,
to test whether it is
this a heart?
whether it is sugar or cocaine, how to test.
Exactly.
Huh?
Sometimes
That's
I
what
just
just
don't
explained.
know.
If it is accompanied by holiness, by presence, by love, if it is accompanied by these things, then it is sugar. If it is accompanied by fear, grasping, wanting, separation, all this, you know the mental energy very well. You can sense it. So if it is accompanied by this kind of taste, then drop it, no matter how accurate it turns out to be. You can transcribe this and we can send you. Because I know the mind also doesn't let us hear. Just but something. I don't want you to shy away from all guidance because the mind has tricked you a few times. So it's a very important answer for you.
Yeah, I just kind of start dismissing kind of
Exactly.
all of it.
That's what the mind wants.
I just go,
Because something in your head doesn't want you to become clear about it. It's not clear. But like this, like this, like this. So no, it's not. Because there's a fear.
So what is the fear then here?
The fear is that the mind's dominance will be lost and you will live in God's guidance and follow God's will. So the mind is trying to make it such that, oh, okay, you're not going to follow the mind, but I won't let you follow God also. So what we'll do is we'll send you the transcript or you can transcribe and listen to every line and tell me what is confusing. If you make it very specific, then we can zero in on it. Mind doesn't like it that specific. The mind will say, no, just overall something.
I think something is also with the past connected because I kind of lost my thought as Diana thought. And then there was such big confusion because I could just kind of like soak all kinds of things. And then I just dismiss kind of all of it. I that was the experience, and I think it's kind of still.
So let's do this first.
Yeah, so I can. So as you asked, Father, there were a lot of buttons when I saw her on the hot seat. Yeah, buttons pressed. I came here. Not even in the hot seat yet. I came. Yeah.
You came to ask Father.
I came to listen to her. What she's talking about. No, but it takes a lot for her also to be there. There's a lot of egolessness to be there, because if you are there, there will be the chances of being ashamed of something and all. But so thanks for that. And every time it came again and again that it's why I am listening to her. I should listen to you and so on. But I can see also that if someone is listening to me, the others will have the same resistance, which I can practically see in my family members, what resistance they are seeing according to me. But and it also gives confidence that if she can speak through heart, I can also speak through heart. So
Yes.
thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing that. I realized suddenly my mind came like it was just suddenly like, everybody must be like bored of you now. You're just going on like until then it didn't come. Just felt like, oh, okay. There was a little bit of attraction to that thought. No, it's okay. I can understand if you want to listen to Father for sure.
Can I make one comment?
Yes.
So, first of all, I thought it was just amazing. So thank you, especially as you just thawed into it and just spoke completely authentically. It was so beautiful. And what really stuck with me was when you said that you had heard that, why do you always take Arjun's position when you're communicating?
Yeah.
Having had the insight, why do you always put yourself in the position of the seeker
Yes.
rather
Yes.
than the insight itself?
Yes.
It's actually, as you said, insight is in plain sight.
Yes.
Like there's nothing more clear than, as you said, it never goes, and you said it so beautifully.
Yeah.
But then we somehow want to take that shape and identify with the body and the seeker and all that, and that's the weakness.
Yeah.
It just made it very clear the way you put it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Amba had said this to me years back, and it's still like that just shifted, like something just, something just like it just went very deep because we can go on. I mean, go on, and every time our insight is true. So what stops us from nothing can actually stop us from speaking our heart in that way.
You think it's just the mind? The mind wants
It's
to
just
grasp onto shape
I
and
feel like the mind
identity.
doesn't have a power of its own. You have to give it your power. So as consciousness, it's our choice. That's the only choice. And for many years, Father used to say this, I used to feel very scared because I think I was still like in that position of a person having to make a choice of whether I go with my thoughts or not, but it's not about a person. And the mind doesn't have power of its own. So we cannot actually keep blaming the mind. Might be hard to hear, but that's the truth. We can't blame our mind. It's just here. You buy it or you don't buy it, It has no power.
Maybe I missed that.
So Father used to
does that-
say before, like, do you want to take the Krishna perspective or the Arjuna? Like Krishna is the one who knows his truth and he is living as God, as his truth. And Arjuna is the one who is asking him about reality and, he like posing to Krishna as a seeker. So we come into satsang as seekers. Of course, we need the master's guidance, and the master points us that, but you're not a seeker, you're not the cat who's looking for a bowl of milk. I first time spoke about the cat. Okay, you're not the cat. You're not the seeker. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. So we keep on asking Father questions from perspective of a seeker. We keep meeting Father as a seeker. And one of the Sangha members told me many years back that why are you still questioning as Arjuna? Like, why can't you, and you know Krishna is in, God is in your heart. And what stops us from moving from there? Accepting in your heart, not in your mind. You don't have, you just, what stops us? Like, why do we continue to pose as though we are finding God? I mean, that doesn't mean that there's no deepening, there's no letting go, but there is a you leave the position of the seeker. You see that there is nothing to seek. Do you see or you don't see? How?
Not yet, maybe.
You don't see yet.
I
Do you?
mean, I still see myself as a seeker.
What are you
Yes.
seeking?
Well, that's a very difficult question. I don't know. I don't know.
How would you know that you got it? Whatever you're seeking?
For me, I kind of trust Guruji, like him, so I follow what he says. And pray comes naturally, so I pray that whatever he's pointing at, I see it. Yeah.
So that seeing that will happen in the future or when he's pointing. Like a seeking is almost like something to get in the future, no?
Yes, yes.
Like something you can get.
I get your point. Yeah.
But that which Father is pointing us is you already. You
Right,
are
right,
here.
right.
You cannot deny I'm here. You are here, no?
Theoretically, I do
No, no, no.
understand what you're telling,
No.
but yeah.
Now, like, are you
Yeah.
here? Are you here? Now? That's too much thinking. Are you here? Can you say you're not here?
Yeah.
Huh? No?
Yeah, I'm not. I think I'm not. Not
Are you here? Like if you ask your child, are you here? He'll say yes or no. Yes, Papa, I'm here only. No.
From mind, yes, it does come. But that feeling of that.
No, no, nothing. Simple
person-
question. Don't complicate this. Are you here?
Of course. No, but when you say about that, feeling the presence, being that primordial vibration,
You are it.
I understand what you say. But
So where is the but? That is the problem. The but is the problem because you're trying to. It's almost like say we listen to Father, like when fathers say, "But I'm feeling so much love for God," and on the other mind will be like, "But I'm not feeling that love. That means I'm something must be amiss." That's not the point, no. So maybe if I'm saying something, then you're like Radha is saying something, but I'm not feeling that, so then I'm not with God or something. Is that how it is? You're here, no?
I'm saying,
Okay, now let's stay with that. This is seeking. Is it seeking something? Are you seeking anything?
no, not in
Not.
that part,
Are,
yes,
are you
yeah.
seeking anything?
Not when you're there, yes.
And what stops us from accepting our reality in the heart, not in the mind?
In that moment, you do. But
So
when
where?
you switch
What is
out,
the next but you're buying?
you said switch out of this.
Whose problem is that? Who is telling you that it's a problem? You switch out of it. I feel like we just don't accept it that we are here. It's just like the mind keeps giving us ideas that something more needs to be done, something more needs to be done, and we just keep falling for it. But this you that is here, what is it lacking? What needs to be achieved in it, or what? It's almost like two different realms. The mind can never grasp you. You can never not be yourself. You just have to let go. And mind will keep telling you now you're a seeker. You go home and then you'll be in the mind. And that's it. You're already in the mind.
Position. Yeah. Okay. Position itself is taking away from the
Yes.
reference.
But every time you're going to check, this is all you're going to be. You're not going to be more than this. There's going to be no greater you in that way. Doesn't matter how much bliss you're feeling, doesn't matter what is in your plate. That's not so. I feel like many of us, like we are looking for a state, and then that state will prove us that now we have found ourselves. But that's never going to be the case. If we keep waiting, then we are just missing God. What is stopping you from being in God now?
Maybe now I see it was not that position of a seeker, but like how Guruji said, it was that position to accept that you are God. I mean, you are servant of God. Maybe my question itself was wrong. I was not in that seeker position, but the feeling of that servant of God. So it was more of that, and not a seeker.
So you don't feel like you're a servant of God.
I
Like
do
if
feel, yeah.
you feel.
So my thought, which said that I'm more of a seeker of God, no, that wasn't true, is what I feel now.
So sweet. So is that is a problem? I didn't understand. No. So sweet. It was coming. Okay. I'm so sorry. So no problem. He's scared to say anything. Are you Rama?
No, I want to do the same inquiry again. I was doing it while he was doing it, and I
I
want
don't
to.
know what Rupal comes out.
It doesn't matter, but I feel like I want to get this really clear also. So when you asked what are you seeking, so I had many answers, but after, like you said, are you here now, and you're compelled to say yes, because you are. I mean, I can. So exactly. So when I say
You're
I'm here,
compelled to say yes means?
meaning in the sense I can go in the mind and say, like, no, I'm not here. No, but it just sounds like just like a kid. Yeah, are you here? Yes, I'm here. You're like,
But it's you're here. No, it's not like you just have to say yes. You know the right.
I mean, yeah, you're here,
Yeah,
but you're
okay.
just imagining that you're not here because you heard some other stuff. Okay, let's not go
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
That's not my question anymore. But the thing is that, so when you say that, are you here? And you said after that, what? So there's no after that, because that's why, because what is here is completely complete, and there's no duality there. There's no
So what makes us buy the next thought? Like, why are we just not accepting? Why are we not done with? There's nothing to be gained more than this.
that's what I'm
No,
also
no
trying to say.
state, no great bliss or no peaceful life is going to give anything more to this than it already is.
So see, that was the recognition, and that, where you're waiting for a validation or a state or an experience, and
For what
You know,
joy? My kids ask
it's-
this. For what joy, ma? For what joy? It just, we are missing. I'm sorry, I want to say this word. We're missing Brahmananda for all the flavors of this world. My mind is saying don't speak like this, but I just want to say it. The tasteless self is the greatest joy. Nothing in this world can give you that.
clear of that now.
And like
I
Father
see that
says,
now.
like, run, when we don't run, then it'll come. But that's not the point. We're not running so that it comes. You're not playing those games. You're only in it because it is true. That's all. But you give it a chance. You have to give God a chance. Only because it is true. I mean, there is no other reason for it. Like nothing. No, there are no benefits from God. Like, it's you. That's it.
Yeah, I'm just going to stay with this because I mean, I have
Say.
no. It's a question, but it's just a question in the sense of I mean, I in this moment I don't feel like any separation between God and me, so that I could be its servant. But I know when my mind will come. I don't know.
Say louder, Jyotirma.
I can't. It's not coming out. I mean, when the mind comes, then I'd rather it.
So this one is already tempting you, is already telling you that something, just have the courage to stay in God. Let him figure out in the next moment. You stay in God now. You see the trick. How do you know that your mind is going to come? Who tells you that?
It's the question you ask, which is answering. The mind is answering, and I notice it, and that's why I said.
Don't buy into the idea that your mind is going to come. It's the same trickster. How do you know?
Actually, in this moment, it doesn't matter if it comes. Also, it's fine. No, it doesn't matter. It can come.
Feel like we just postpone. No, nothing will be different the next moment. It's going to be the very same, no matter what experience is happening. Don't miss God for that.
I was hearing Friday Satsang, and it's very, very beautifully explained again about how the laying of the table and the grace of God, or knowing that absolute truth. So we can say, let's not delay, and let's not waste time, and let's whatever. But we have to also understand with great humility that is actually grace. And in the laying of the table, that is that is something else, right? Yeah. And I think in that satsang, and the yogi asked also that how does one do that, and so could you explain, indeed came in that could you tell us then where is it my effort and where is it grace? And it was very beautifully put that you make an effort for your worldly pursuits. So if you can use that focus, I think focus is my own conclusion. That was not the word, but when I thought about it, I said to myself that, my focus is so focused. If I've decided to build my business, or if I've decided to make my plants grow, I'm very focused. So just that focus on that table laying is more than enough. And I think that table laying itself can also be a joyful journey, because I think that if we also say, like, let's do it today, let's not waste time and all, it's like quite heavy. Not that we are guilty of wasting time, But well, so of course we are, but on the other hand, I don't know. But the main thing is that I really like that beautiful. It soothed me. It clarified very deeply. And also there's so much ego in that we must do it today. Who are we going to do? We can't do. The only thing we can do is kill ourselves. So it is like that a bit.
So, I think with the deepening of the insight with, I think, thanks to Father and the Sangha, and grace, it's starting to feel like, God is everything, as you said. So God is here, and in fact, I would say God is here. The presence is of God. In fact, God is even more than the presence, even more universal and subtle than even the quality of presence. He's here. And then if you what I tend to do is drill into my own body. So when I witness my own body, because that's the most intimate, what's most intimate to me, observable, is prana. Like, as you say, watch your breath and watch the sensations of your body. And then if I witness them as objects, because they're objects, because I can, I can sense all the qualities. The prana, you can watch your breath, you can feel all the contours of your body. I think the other insight feels like that's also made of consciousness. In other words, even that is appearing from consciousness, by consciousness, being seen in consciousness, right? It's only that somehow, I grasped onto it and said, that's me, like, because it's more gross. I was not, never used to seeing something subtle, It's like my instrument, I didn't have the right instrument. It's like if I, like if you were, if your eyes were weak, you only saw what you saw. You put on glasses, you saw something else. I wasn't attuned to seeing more subtle. So I took the gross to be me, but it's always there. And then I think it also sometimes feels like, this body, I'm taking this to be real right now, but I know that in my dream there was a different body and there was a different world. And so the power of thought, because the dream was only kind of thought, right?
Just something is coming to ask. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, it's just
Yeah.
coming, and I'm going to stop. When you said, I take this body to be real, we really have to question. We can. It's just coming like this, okay? So I'm going to ask you, what do you mean by I'm taking this body to be real now? What does it mean to say I'm taking something to be real?
What I mean to say is, it feels like the most subtle reality, which is unchanging, from where the witnessing is happening, is.
But just
Just allow me to kind of slightly layered, right? The place from which it's all happening, the true seeing, is myself, which is the unchanging, inseparable from the self. And then there's the vibration I am, and then there's the breath and the feeling of the body.
Yeah, but what
I
makes it
don't
real?
No, what I'm saying is, before I came to satsang, and before I knew to look inwards, I thought the body was primary. There was nothing else. And now it feels like the body is also, the knowing of the body is also made out of consciousness, like a little bit like, that, the I amness in that screen is kind of like the sensations of the body, and the prana is coming and going. And it's there, but it's witnessable by me. So it's like, that's happening within, also by the will of God. The body is being seen and the breath is being seen by the will of God, who's the only creator, and he's only seeing it. That's sort of, and so the dream is not Arvind's dream. The dream is the self's dream, that this was real. but then if you can see, but then now at least, thanks to, this beautiful inward journey, can see that it's all witnessable. And it's changing, like it's gone, like after when I go to sleep, it's gone. As you said, in the deep sleep, no thoughts, no world. And then different world, different body.
Yeah, this is so amazing because bringing up something first, very initially, Father had asked me, very first or second satsang, you looked at my hand and said, "Is this real?" And like, what do you mean? Like, it's so solid, it felt so solid. I mean, it still feels like solid, but just like you're talking about, like, this body is not there in the dream. Can it have any solidity to it? Like when it's just gone. I don't know how to put this across. It's
Solidity is a thought.
It's a thought. It's a concept. It took many years for even little of this to like come. I'm like, but like somewhere I heard you, but it felt like, yeah, my hand is solid. But now I doubt it more than doubt. It's clear that there's no solidity to anything in this realm. It's continuously moving. Even your body, in the sense of not movement, but there is no. Like even the idea that it's not there in your sleep is, where does it like it's not even like, it doesn't even come into being. I feel sometimes like it doesn't even, sorry. It doesn't even materialize in that sense. Only our next thought will tell us that the body is here. I don't know how to put it. Like, it's just filled with consciousness, that's all. And it's just fresh. There's no like, there's no past and history or future even for this. Somewhere I'm sure the minds are like going crazy, but oh, sorry. I'm just speaking as it's coming.
This question, or what can we do when we can only kill ourselves or something?
Yeah, I saw Father's eyes rolling when you said that.
No, it's not very strong. That's the whole idea. There are a few categorizations which I noticed in the question. One was the categorization of soothing versus heavy.
Yeah.
The other is there was the categorization of what can we do to set the table versus grace.
Yeah.
And therefore, then the question of postponing versus not
immediacy.
Postponing. There are a few very good contemplations in that. Anything coming up to say in this one?
It can be heard as a very stressful thing by the mind. Actually, it can be like, do it now, do it now. Yeah. So it's, I don't know, let me try. But it sometimes feels like it's a push. A push is needed, and sometimes a nudge is needed. Sometimes there is no, I can't say now I'm always going to be like, the heart can never say that it's just good. It can be a Kali roop, it can be a very like Krishna roop, it can be very soft roop. So, and it's better for us to not, I'm sorry, it might sound as a job, but it's coming. I'm going to say it's better for us to not take a position as to this is how I want the words to be of fathers or of the guru or of the heart, because then we are boxing ourselves into what we want it to be like. And we cannot box, the heart, you know. So yeah, heard from the mind, I feel it can be very scary, of course. Like it's like I have to do something, yet we have to do something. So, I don't know what to say other. It's I think it just bursts our head. Like we don't know what to do, and we just let go, you know, like just maybe not even that though.
We had a conversation earlier about this also, in terms of the symphonic nature of the sharing. It's sometimes it's very pushy, sometimes it's very soothing, but it's symphonic, hopefully, as an overall way. Because the way, it's not really a set of pointing.
And it's not like you have you just, it's just what the heart wants, then it just comes out like that. And you know what's going on, but it's not like you can stop the way it's coming.
You have to trust that.
You have to trust
start
that.
to,
Yeah.
as advice for sharing, the instant you start to second guess your heart,
Yeah.
then you start catering to audience and all of that
Yes.
stuff. Then the authenticity of it will die down. And the fact is that because reality is so beyond conceptualization, and yet we try to communicate in words. So sometimes we say left, left, left. Sometimes we say right, right, right. But really, how to say? You can't even say out or in because it's beyond out and in. So only the Sadguru presence can truly guide us in that.
I'm so grateful that they're just speaking up openly, you know, which was it can feel scary here also, like, you know, the trust. And as the speaking was happening, it was very clear it was the heart was guiding, except for that one time when it just like the mind just came back.
It's like you're getting a groove in a way.
Yeah.
Because earlier, when you're trying to say something strong, the voice was becoming mellower, so you were trying to put it in a velvet glove, iron fist in a velvet glove type thing. But now I feel like you're just like trusting.
Yeah, it can come very strong. Like Mira was saying, it just it comes so like it's a little like you're scared to just be that strong. But,
Full on.
but you have to trust. Like even when this body thing was, so the contemplation is happening and it's alive here, and then the mind is saying that they won't even understand maybe what are you blabbering, like, you know, you're just going out of father never talks like this, but you have to trust. Yes, you just have to trust.
That is the perfume of that. Even though the mind may completely disagree with the content of the words that come, but something just draws you in because you can smell the fragrance of where it is coming from. And that is what everybody comes to Satsang for, really. More than an understanding, they come for the fragrance of that presence speaking.
I feel like for all of us, it will be a great joy to be just like each one just coming here. I feel like all of us want to talk from the heart. It's just we are too scared. Who wouldn't want to talk from the heart? This one should be next.
I wanted to say something though. You were talking about that, no? How it hasn't even materialized this world. Something, the temperature is going up in a good way.
In a good way, thank God.
I want to like hear more about that. Like
I would love to, because it's brewing here. Like it feels like the body is just full of light. Like not my body, but every body. It's just there's just like we feel solidity and we feel nothing, there's no solidity, like it's just everything is just so fluid and alive in God, like in God, like in God. Nothing, there's no like solid, liquid, gas kind of stuff, actually, and it's too much for the mind, but your heart knows this, and the only way to know it is now. It's like um,
All this hasn't even materialized.
there's no materializing, it's just God. It's just God's light. Not even light, but God's light. Like it's not light like the light that we see. It's just that. And we feel like our body has what there is a body and there are these are, it's not true. Great, no? Something in you wants to hear it because it's true. It's just the light of God. And it's
No,
filled
it's like
in.
suddenly, who am I hearing? Something like that came up. Like,
That's just your mind. You're just hearing
no,
your
I
heart.
mean, no, really. I mean, it felt like
Yeah.
it's not Radha who was speaking, no? Sort of
Yeah.
something.
The more you go into God, the greater He is. It's just like wow, and it's just like, and like Father says, it's just the beginning. There's no end to this wowness. Like just to know that your body never there's nothing but God. But it's not. This just sounds like a simple statement, but there's so much more depth in it. Death and all is just like focus stuff. Sorry. And like to have the faith in God, because in our minds we feel like we have these physicality laws of this cannot happen, this, what am I blabbering? Feeling drunk and blabbering something. What am I saying? Sorry.
Don't stop, it's good.
Okay. Just we feel like these laws of this world, like this is how things are, but in God there is no law of that sort. Anything can, next moment can be anything. Like the miracles are not just miracles, it's like God can make anything happen if He wills. Like we can live for 1,000 years if God wills in this body. There's nothing to stop Him. There's no law on earth that my body has to be like 100 years. No, Father. Something is saying, don't speak too much, don't stop it.
Tiruvannamalai, at sometimes in retreats we just gather like this informally. And I'm like, right now I'm drinking this glass of water, but someday soon we'll drink galaxies like this, and things like this. So she's getting there to the
Feeling high.
drunkenness on God.
Oh God. Mind just feel like, but it's true. Oh my God. Like don't limit anything. Like just don't be scared.
You can't let her go home.
I'm feeling very drunk. Oh
Wake
God.
up, wake up.
I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm scared.
Scared, drunk. Don't limit yourself. Everything is happening. Veda, Veda.
Ayyo Rama. Ayyo Rama. Something is happening.
I don't want it to be Satsang with Ananta. Much Ananta. I feel like Satsang with Sangha. Of course, I'll also share. See for you also. She doesn't want it to be Satsang with Meera.
But we don't hear you.
Athmika is next. We have 2 minutes. You're not getting late?
Athmika has to share today.
I'm not even asking. Just
I'm going to say it's just a faith. Dilip.
it's implied.
What a day you chose, Father. A 6-year job, Father. It's okay.
Is that how do I start for something?
Just a minute, relax.
Okay, I want to ask this to Father actually, but I've been hearing about the feeling of presence in a localized way for a while, and I've been struggling with that. I couldn't feel it, still can't. But once in a while, what happens is I have a sensation like the tingling sensation she keeps saying about between my eyes. Once in a while, it comes in satsang. Sometimes it comes near a temple or something. Sometimes near some people. So is that the same sensation we are talking about in general?
Sensation in the sense you're asking about beingness.
Yes.
It can be a byproduct of beingness. I mean, I can only talk from my experience. The tingling sensation that Father says, or she was saying, I feel it close to my heart, but that just isn't the beingness for me. That can be a byproduct of beingness, which can become more palpable. Sometimes, like you say, when you're with certain people or with yourself in a calmer state, or in listening to something which takes you more closer to heart, this vibration can be more experienced. But in my sense, my experience, this vibration alone is not being. I mean, it is a part of the being. It can be a byproduct of the being, but it is not limited to only the tingling sensation. That's what I experience.
The word tingling is more of Shiv's interpretation. I don't really feel it as a tingling. It's a very, like the subtlest perception possible, and yet indescribable in that way, because I often say it's at the cusp of the manifest and unmanifest. So, yeah, so sometimes I'm just being a bit careful of the word tingling, because we start looking for some like tingling type thing, which is this is more like a hum. Like if I had to pick between the two words, although both are not perfect for it, but this is like a constant hum within you. You're feeling some energetic movement in your. But that's not what I'm talking about.
What to talk, Father?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like today, how Radhama made me experience that I'm not a seeker. So even though I have that blind spot removed, like even Guruji has helped me with removing many blind spots, but I think they do come back. I've seen that. How do I stop? I mean, how do I? But it is not a mental understanding. I have experienced that. Still, over a period of time, there's a cloud that comes over you, and you don't remember these pointers. So, is there anything that we can do really?
I think we can't plan it like from now on. I'll be like this, There is you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
because it is from a mind which
Yes.
is planning something,
Correct,
making it a project, right? So here, what I do or what I experience is moment to moment, moment to moment. This moment, offer it, surrender it. Sometimes it doesn't happen; it goes away. Next moment, the moment you realize, you come back. You come back. Nothing is lost.
So
You
that has to be just grace. I mean,
you can call it grace.
it's nothing in my. I mean,
I find grace and effort going together sometimes nowadays.
so what is the effort that I'm putting here? Nothing, right?
You are consciously offering it, right? When you see that you have gone with the mind, you're consciously coming back, right? You can call it grace, you can call it in it's like two sides
Yeah,
of the same thing.
that I do by staying with the presence or returning to the presence. That's the cycle I follow as an effort. But these blind spots, until somebody sees it, I would never recognize them.
But why are you worried about the mind? Whom does it matter to?
Yeah, yeah, right.
It it is again, do you see that it
Yeah,
is again a
it's just that question which is waiting to get resolved.
yeah, a resolver or a solver is somewhere, trying to remove the blind spots.
Yeah,
So
even that is not needed.
surrender is not with any agenda of, removing this or this. Surrender is ultimate let go. Like, taking away our thing and offering it to somebody and let him do whatever he wants. That is the surrender, right? If the blind spots are staying,
Yes.
that's also fine.
Yes,
If it is getting removed, that's also fine. It doesn't matter to me now.
Doesn't matter to me.
That's the surrender. Father, just feel to speak about love for God because that is what is coming more alive. That day when you said insights, love and faith should come together. I mean, it's all together. I still feel here now. Yes. So right now I feel love is the most. I don't know. Right now it's what is felt very strongly here because I feel love for God is naturally there. Insights will come when it has to, and servitude is a natural byproduct of this love. When you love somebody very immensely and wholeheartedly, unconditionally, being a servant is so natural, and it's a joy. It's the highest joy you can get being, and serving God also. I feel loving God is serving God. You don't have to serve God in any way. He doesn't need a servant also because he's that powerful and he doesn't even need a servant that way. But loving God unconditionally, I was telling him also that like unconditionally loving God is the most beautiful thing that anyone can have. And when you love God unconditionally, I think you can love anyone unconditionally in that way. And like you were also saying, and around that time I was also having this insight that love for God is actually God's love for you. You know, there is no one here to love God that way. You're experiencing and you're, in a way, you're getting consumed in that love. Whatever is left as me is getting consumed in that love, you know. Yeah, for that, like he was also saying, there is one step that sometimes I need to take, like sitting for that, or just, but that also I feel it's grace. Like I cannot differentiate between grace and effort nowadays, you know. It is together. Whenever I am putting an effort, I find grace immediately. It's a loop, you know. You can really don't know where it is starting and where the thing ending. So yeah, that's what is coming to say. Inner में क्या है मुझे?
I had a question when Radha was talking about physical. Yeah, so, Father, I think I'm sure you also gone through the journey. She's gone through the journey, which I didn't understand earlier. Like you go through this Kriya Yogas and all that. And Sadhguru does it, Sri Ravi Shankar's. I'm sure you also gone through. Why do you do that if you're not, if your body is not real? Why do people who have been through that journey say that you have to do this if you are saying that the body is not real? Does it actually mean that you don't identify with the body? But the body is there, right? And you do this, the Kundalini awakening and all that. Why do you go through that process then?
I think it starts from I feel different paths start from different starting point in a way, you know. That's what I've understood from my thing, that most of us are identified with the body, you know. From the time we were young, we were taught that this is me, and we have been identified with this. So to come out of it, there are many ways. So one of the ways, Kriya Yoga, where, I mean, I've not done much of Kriya Yoga as Kriya Yoga stuff. It's more of the Hatha Yoga thing that I've done. So in that also, once you start with the asanas, you take then to pranayams, and then finally it comes to the dhyana part, the meditation part. So it's taking you beyond, not, then the beyond is not like continuous, 24/7, it's not like that. It's just that moment just takes you one step away from the identification. That is, you know, Kriya Yoga, I mean, what in the inner engineering, I think that what I remember is you focus on the sensations more, you know, sensations of the, what you call as body is basically sensation. Do you see that sometimes? Like Mooji also says that unless you pull your ear, you don't realize you have an ear. It's like that. We have just assumed that we your body identified, but most of the time, like when you're sitting, you may not be identified with many parts of your body unless there is a pain or a sensation there. Right? Is that what the question was? I'm so sorry. I'm looking into your eyes and saying, what was your question?
Why do what Kriya? And why do we do practice?
Because we are identified with the body. Most of us are identified with the body when you start on that journey. In the Bhakti Marga, like if you're on the Bhakti path, you put everything, all your focus on the Lord, you know, to whom you're worshipping. So again, the self-concern is taken, the identification with your individuality, be it your body or your, name, whatever it is, it's taken to God, Krishna or Shiva, whomever you are devoted to. So Kriya Yoga it's not a bhakti path. It's a different path where you're, you know, doing certain processes to go out of your body identifications, right? So because I think the thing is that when we are doing Kriya Yoga, we start with an identification that we are the body. So I think the starting points are different in different paths. That's what I felt. I don't know, maybe you can.
So what I feel is, no, I'm answering your question. So why would I do Kriya Yoga or Gyan Yoga or any yoga if you say that the body is not real? Because if you because like she said, you were conditioned to believe it to be true, and you see it through your eyes, and you've been taught this is your body, whatever. You didn't always know that. But now, to make you uncondition it, I can say this is not your body, but you don't believe me because you believed something else for really long. So only when you will experience it otherwise, can you say, yes, I'm not that. I'm not really only my body, or it's not even a body in the way I think of a body, like a physical form with like a fixed shape and all of that. So when you do a Kriya Yoga, say, then you start noticing that you're not even your breath, because you can observe it. I mean, it's not even happening in the body. You start, because you become so, your vision or your experience becomes so subtle that you can experience it otherwise. And only when you can experience it otherwise will you be satisfied. If it's only when you eat the mango can you have the taste. So, but to first eat that mango, or say eat it. So when the master says do something and you start following what he's saying, is when you'll experience what he's trying to say to you. But if you don't even want to look that way, you won't ever know what he's trying to say to you, even though it may be true. And one contemplation which Father made us do was like when he says, who watches this hand or anything? And you say, it's me. And then if you ask yourself, how do I know this is me? Right? Because now, if you just ask yourself or stay with that question, how do I know this is me? A lot gets revealed to you in your own contemplation, that how I know this is me is not because I know I'm a body or because I have a thought or any of that. I mean, I can tell you the answer, but that wouldn't be the same as you looking for yourself, really looking at it. That's my answer. So just try it, you just have to be open and empty. That's the open and empty, just to be able to look the way it is asking us. In any way of your Kriya or whatever. Yeah, just coming to say that I feel like many of these kriyas and all, they're not just for the body also. I feel like they
Yeah, you're not sitting here.
Athmika, one question. There was one for forward which we were discussing, which we couldn't complete. So I'll just read that. God didn't need perfection from David, and he doesn't need it from any of us. He doesn't need it from any of us. When we allow God to use our weaknesses, he can put us to use even more. When we admit to our brothers and sisters that we have failed and are struggling, we can grow in community and have people to walk with. Through repentance, we can more clearly see God work in our lives, and we can live in freedom from shame. Furthermore, we can show the world that being a Christian doesn't mean being perfect, rather it means being forgiven. Can we go through this? I mean,
What I hear, I mean, I only sent it to you, I guess, but I forgot that. What I hear is be authentic, be most honest to yourself, and like don't aim for perfection. Like you said, my blind spots are still there, right? So somewhere there is a wanting of perfection, that I should be without blind spots. For what? Can I ask you for what? For what?
Yeah, exactly.
No, why do you want the blind spots to be seen? And
because I think that way I would reach God faster, but that is not what you're saying.
yeah, so it's not like anything in the world, like anything in the world needs improving, reaching there, right? But God is a very starting point. You never lose God, you never miss God, right? So you don't have to improve yourself to reach there. Improving is an idea of the world, I feel. It's an idea that compete, improve, struggle to get something. That is an idea that we have learned from the world, from maybe from the very young age. The conditioning that we have had has always taught us to be, to improve ourselves, get better, perfect ourselves, and then you get something,
But
right?
there is a struggle in that moment to be with God also. There is a struggle.
Yeah, so that's what,
And that we have to take.
yeah.
And
So if it
sometimes we
feels,
are weak there.
yeah.
So that weakness, how can we accept that weakness? I mean, we have to get over that weakness, right? In that moment.
I mean, I would say, why to even get over that? Accept it fully and kneel down and pray. Like, why to get over the weakness? Again, it's an improvement, right? That I have to overcome this challenge that I have. I understand your earnestness to come back to God. That is there. But if you have a hurdle, you accept that I have a hurdle and kneel down and pray to God. And let Him take it away if He has to. Do you see that point of view?
No, something I'm missing there.
Like, what is the challenge when you pray?
When I accept it, I feel like I'm not being honest there.
Accepting is honesty, right?
But accepting means I'm not, I mean, what do you say? How do you put it? It's yeah, I'm not trying enough, kind of like I've accepted that I've failed, fine, done. Means I need to get over that.
Yeah, so like Father says, if it feels like an effort, take that effort. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
If it feels like an effort, take that effort.
So, but here they mention that God will make use of your weaknesses. I mean, what does that mean then?
In the sense, your vulnerability or your
Yeah.
being raw, right? Not pretending or believing in your capabilities. What I learned recently with a discussion with Father is, I still rely a lot on my capabilities to reach God. My capabilities, whatever be that, maybe my insights,
part.
my love for God, all these are my capabilities according to my mind.
Okay.
I still rely on these to reach God.
Okay.
But these are not. Do you see? These are not. Insight is not my own. Even love for God, I would say it is not my. It is.
Okay, you pray to God that these are my weaknesses.
Yes.
Help me to get over that. As of now.
Yeah, help. Not even get over there. Put the focus on God. I don't know from where you're speaking this. I'm not getting a really sense of it.
What
But
if you like? If one day I say that I don't take a sweet, but I just take it.
I don't take
a sweet,
Ah.
but I just take it.
Hmm.
So I feel that. So then I say to God, that okay, I am weak. Do give me strength to get over it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can pray, but put the attention more on God. Put the attention more on God's power and capability, not on yours.
Yeah.
Not on your capability to control yourself. Put the focus and trust on God's ability to guide you. God's power and God's ability to guide you rather than your capability to control. Don't ask for, give me more strength to control myself in that way. The words can be different. I'm just saying whatever is coming here. But put the trust more on God. Trust more on God. Not ask Him for power for you to have to control something. I mean, I don't know why I'm mumbling words.
There's some block to get the correct sentence in my mind also, but I think I'm.
Whenever we pray, somewhere recently I've also started realizing more when we pray, somewhere you're asking for yourself. It's again about you, right?
That should not be there. That I
But
understand.
for God, you have to trust only on God. Like Father says, you can't deserve God. You can't be worthy of God.
Yes.
That really went very deep, I feel, because you can't be worthy. All this while we are trying to improve ourselves in the spiritual sadhana or getting more understanding or doing practices just to make us more worthy, right? Even removing these blind spots, I feel it is to make yourself more worthy, that I'm clean, I'm all ready for you. But I don't think that will help. You have to only trust on God. Let God be God. Let be God is the all powerful, only powerful being. So that's what the last sentence. Can you read once again?
Furthermore, we can show the world that being a Christian doesn't mean being perfect. Rather, it means being forgiven.
Yeah. So you can't be a perfect disciple or a perfect seeker worthy of God. There's nothing called perfection.
Very complicated.
No, it's very simple. You don't have to struggle at all. Don't make it about you, make it about God. That's simple. That's it.
It doesn't matter who talks, no? If they're talking from God,
That's good news.
it's the heart meets when God meets God, like, and it doesn't matter whose mouth it comes out of. If it's true, you meet it, and
You're crying in the beauty of it, or that the resistance is melting?
out of joy and out of so much joy, and to hear them speak so much, it's there was no resistance, but so much beauty, and it doesn't feel like it's like you are speaking through them. And there's no doubt.
God's grace is, for some reason, got us together. None of us expected to be here. I certainly didn't, and I don't feel like any of you planned that one day you will be in Satsang with Ananta or something like that. So, may that grace of the Holy One enable this instrument of the Sangha itself, not just the body of one Ananta, but the entire instrument of the Sangha itself be used to share his light, to share his presence, to share his love. And if we can keep this inner feeling, the inner intention to be an instrument of God's light, and that will keep us safe, because there are many temptations on this path of sharing. There are many things which become available to the one who is sharing and has devotees or disciples. There to remember that all of this is God's grace alone is very important, and I want to definitely be available to help all of you mature in this, because I don't want this body to be gone and then all of you are scrambling with the temptations of sharing satsang and the temptations of power and money and all of these and many other things which come along the way. So I want to be here to guide you and also to chop your head off if I start noticing any pride or arrogance starting to build up. So I feel like it's just part of my job as a father to enable this whole process to happen. And it was very joyful today, very beautiful to hear my children speak. So I'm very happy. So my feeling is to continue the experiment. I don't know what shape it will take and where we go from here. But for now, I know just the next feeling is to continue with this. Where it goes, I don't know. But one thing I'm very happy about is that if over a period of some time it can become more satsang with sangha rather than satsang with Ananta, I'll be very happy with that. Feeling more in tune with this expression rather than making it all central about one man. It doesn't feel so natural. It has to always be about God. Okay, so thank you for today. It was very beautiful. I also felt very restful. I'm feeling quite restful and nice. Something beautiful unfolds as you share from God's light. Thank you. Thank you.
Ananta ji ki jai.